What is up, guys? We are at Ocean's 11 playing some 2-3 today, so wish me luck.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that I just don't like till, you know? Alright, we got the flush. Okay, he's got a set of eights. We got him. Hold.
Tell him he's got a lot of class, and it's all low.
So starting this vlog, there are a couple things I'm really bummed about. The first is that I currently have COVID as I'm editing this video. Yes, I'm vaccinated, I got the Moderna shot, and my symptoms are pretty mild because of it. The second thing I'm bummed about was that the first significant hand got deleted somehow, so I'll recap it quickly. I had pocket kings, I opened, and was heads up against an aggressive player. I flopped a set, and I checked, he bet, I called. The turn was a blank, I checked again, he bet, I called. The river paired the board, giving me a full house. I checked for the third time, and he went all in. I snap called. He was bluffing with a missed straight draw. Sorry I couldn't get the footage, but that's how my chip stack got up over $500. Now that you're caught up, we have ace-king of clubs in the small blind. The under the gun opens to 15, the low jack calls, and the action is on me. Ace-king is usually always a 3-bet, so we bump it up to $75. Everyone folds, and we're on to the next hand. In this next one, the hijack opens to $12, and we look down at queen 10 of spades on the button. When someone in one of the later positions opens, it usually means their range of hands will be wider. Because of that, I like to put on the pressure and 3-bet with more hands. If I only 3-bet with jacks through aces and ace-king, it would be very easy to exploit me and just fold every time I 3-bet. Because of that, I mixed in some mid to high suited connectors or gappers that'll play pretty well post-flop if they choose to call. I 3-bet here at $48, 4 times the initial open. Everyone folds, and we take it down. An orbit later, there's a late position open from the button to $12, and I pick up 9-10 of spades in the small blind. Some people would call, but again, I think it's a good spot to apply pressure. Flat calling in the small blind isn't usually great because you're out of position, so instead, look for spots to raise. I raise it up to $50, and everyone folds. In our next hand, the low jack opens to $12, the hijack calls, and I look down at pocket tens in the cutoff. I know what you're thinking.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
We're going for it. I 3-bet to $60, and everyone folds. In the next one, the low jack opens to $17, and we look down at pocket kings on the button. Hopefully this will be the time somebody calls, and we 3-bet to $60. The low jack does call, and we're heads up to a flop, which comes ace, jack, 9, rainbow. Of course. An ace on the flop. The low jack checks it to me, and I wasn't sure if I should bet or check it back. Comment below what you would have done in this hand, and while you're at it, go like the video as well. I end up checking, and the turn comes a 4, not changing much. He bets $95. After checking the flop, I don't think I can give up here, so I call. The river is a 7, and I'm hoping it'll go check, check, but he apparently has other plans and decides to bet $275. I fold, but lose a decent chunk of money there. After that, the hijack opens to $12, the button calls, the small blind calls, and I get dealt pocket jacks in the big blind. I decide to mix it up with my secret move, knocking over my chips. Just kidding, that was an embarrassing accident, and I 3-bet to $80. Everyone folds, and we're moving on. So at this point you may be thinking, Brantzen, did you ever not 3-bet a hand? Sure. In this one, the under the gun +1 opens to $12, and I pick up king queen of spades in the hijack. This time I decide to just flat call, and the big blind comes along as well. The flop comes out jack, jack, 9 with 2 spades, and the big blind leads out for $23. The +1 player calls, and I'm sitting with a straight flush draw. I call, of course, and the turn comes out the 2 of spades. Heck yeah, I hit my flush, but unfortunately the action checks to me. If either of them bet, my plan was to raise, but now that they both checked, I question what they have. At this point, I'm thinking they probably either have a 9, a straight draw, or a weak jack. I'm only scared of the board pairing, so I make a small bet of $40 to try to keep my opponents in. The big blind folds, but the +1 calls, and the river comes out a 2. Well, that sucks. Yeah. Now the board is double paired and any jack beats us. The +1 player bets $65. Seems like he's begging for us to call with a hand that's worse than a jack. I fold and we're on to the next one. A few hands later, we're playing 6-handed and the low jack opens to $15. It folds around to me and I look down at 9-7 of spades in the big blind. I make the call and we see a flop heads up that comes out 4-5-2 with 2 spades. We flop a flush draw and 2 overcards. My usual play here would be to check to the pre-flop raiser, but this was the most passive player on the table. I knew if I checked here, he would almost always check back and see a free turn with whatever 2 high cards he had. Because of this, I let out for $15 and he called. The turn came out a 6, and now I have an open-ended straight draw to go along with my flush draw. I continue the aggression and bet $45, and he folds. Next, we pick up ace-5 of clubs on the button. There's a straddle, so we open to $20, and the small blind, big blind, and straddle call. The flop comes out king, king, jack with 2 clubs. The small blind bets $20, the big blind folds, the straddle calls, and I'm sitting with the nut flush draw. However, the board is already paired, which means that even if I hit the flush, I may not have the best hand, so I just call. The turn is an offsuit 9, and the small blind bets $40. Then the straddle raises to $160. This just got way too expensive for me, so I fold, but we can stay tuned into the hand. The small blind goes all in for $360 total, and the straddle calls. The river is a jack, the small blind shows a jack, and the straddle wins the hand with king 6. To be honest, I don't think the small blind should have bet the turn, as the straddle and I could easily have a king in our hands. Then, when the straddle raised, the small blind definitely should have folded, but I guess he got a little stubborn. After bricking a few flops, I pick up ace-10 off in the hijack. I open to $15, the cutoff calls, the button calls, and the small blind calls. The flop comes out 9-5-2 with 2 hearts. The small blind checks, and I choose to bet $40. This is a pretty ugly flop, and I don't think my opponents will hit it that often. Plus, I have the backdoor nut flush draw, a backdoor straight draw, and 2 overs, so there are a decent amount of turn cards that I'll be able to continue betting. Unfortunately for me, the cutoff goes all in for $139. The button and small blind fold, and the action is back on me. I have to call $99 to win a total of $335. This means I have to win the hand at least 30% of the time in order for the call to be profitable. I think about what he could have. A set would be the worst case scenario. I don't think he would have any 2 pairs here, as all the 2-pair combinations are pretty ugly. I think because he has a short stack, he could be doing this with any 9. I also think with his stack size, he's making this move with any heart draw. I'm holding the ace of hearts, so if he has a flush draw, that means he can't have an ace, and I would be ahead. I sigh and make the call, hoping that he's bluffing with a flush draw. The turn is a jack, and the river is a 9. He turns over ace-king offsuit. Turns out he was bluffing, but still managed to have a better hand than me. I add on 200, and after missing some more flops, we pick up jack-queen of hearts in the small blind. The low jack opens to $12, the cutoff and button call, and I choose to make a 3-bet to $75. The low jack calls, and the cutoff and button fold. Heads up to a flop which comes ace-king 6, all diamonds. Because he didn't re-raise me pre-flop, it's less likely he has aces, kings, or ace-king. I know if I shove here as the 3-better, it'll look pretty scary for him. I put him all in for the $85 that he has left in his stack. He looks unhappy and folds. Before the last hand on the vlog, I bricked a few more flops. The reason I don't show these hands is because they're usually just single raised pots where I completely miss the board, someone else bets, and I fold on the flop. They're pretty boring and standard, and they happen to everyone. So going back to the final hand, the hijack limps and the button makes it $20. I look at one of the prettiest hands in poker, ace-king suited in the small blind. Let's do one last 3-bet for the road. I bump it up to $80. The hijack folds, and the button puts me all in. I have $253 total, and I snap call. If we win this hand, we'll be even for the day at least. The button turns over the lucky snowman, and it looks like it'll be a coin flip. The flop comes out 10, ace, queen. Nice. We flop an ace and just have to dodge an 8. The turn comes a 9. Okay, one more card to go. The river is an 8. Great.
Oh my. Yes. That is bad news.
Wow, what a night. Yeah, so nothing went my way after the beginning. We just couldn't flop. Couldn't flop any luck. Couldn't do anything. Apparently couldn't get out a sentence there, Brantzen. You know, what are you gonna do?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Hey guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. Tonight was a rough session. What you guys didn't see on the vlog were a ton of multi-way pots in which I completely missed the board and folded on the flop. It happens when you play poker sometimes, but it can still be frustrating. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. This is Brantzen from the Brantzen Poker Vlog, and I'll see you next time.